Hey everybody, welcome back to Stamping School. I'm going to play around with this Artisan sketched garden paper. And a lot of people love the black and white designs, but they don't know what to do with this one. The first question I always get is, are there die cuts so that we can cut them? No. And everybody seems to just be fussy cutting them, and that's wonderful, and I love to fussy cut and all of that, but a lot of you who got this paper in your paper shares from me said, okay, I don't want to fussy cut, what do I do? So, challenge myself to make 3 cards with no fussy cutting with this particular paper. I love the graphicness of it, I love black and white, and I like adding just a little bit of color. So I'm going to show you a few tricks on how to maximize the paper for the projects we're going to do. So let me just go through them quickly. There's this big one. It's 12 by 12, okay? And then there's black and white designs on the back. These obviously are easier to use because they're an all-over pattern. Same with this one. Got black polka dots, a bunch of little roses, and a bold one on the other side. Really fun to color. This one with all the little bouquets, black and white leaves, and then this one kind of reminds me of wallpaper and stripes. All right, we're going to focus on this one because that's the one I get the most questions about. Now, if the artists at Stampin' Up! Had made them straight across with lots of room to cut in between, wouldn't that be wonderful? Yes, but they didn't. And they're kind of askew, and some are high and some are low, and it's interesting and all of that, but it's like, how do you cut this paper and not, chop the heads off of everything? So there's a few different things you can do. Of course, the one thing you can do is go through your old dies and look for ovals. There's a lot of different ways that you can go in and cut some of these out. The arches will work, without interrupting some other things too much. Okay? And by the way, another little tip here, let's say you want to cut this one out here, you'd come in here and just kind of wiggle around a little bit, but you can, if you cut the bottom off, you can just draw another black line down there for the bottom. If you want to make it all the way up here, no matter what it is, just use a black Sharpie or a nice black marker, and you can create the bottom again. Don't feel like, it has to be that height. It can come up a little bit. The postage stamp, even the Winnie the Pooh dies, there's a lot of really pretty ones in there. So that's the first thing. But if we're going to do something like this card, where we need to cut it across and we need to figure out how that works before we start cutting, all right? So this is my method. I bring in my paper cutter, and you need, I use old chipboard from designer paper. This is just a 2-inch piece, and I'm gonna line that up. You can use cardstock too, it doesn't have to be chipboard. I just happen to have this next to it. We're gonna put it right next to the cut line. Right butted up right next to it, okay? Tape it down. And the idea is that now you can slide this under and see where it's going to be cut, okay? Actually, I did this backwards. This one goes this way. I had this taped on earlier. All right, so we're gonna line it up right next to the cut line. All right, and then tape it down. This is just some masking tape. There we go. Oh, that's better. All right. So this can still slide under, and that's why having this be 12 inches is good, so that it'll be steady through there. And then you can slide this under and see if we cut it, how does that work, right? So obviously, if you cut it this way, you're going to lose quite a few. So I kind of looked at that quickly and said, that's not going to work very well. I'm going to lose a bunch of them. So then I turned it on its side. I'm going to slide this under. Now, here we can kind of get away with some. Here, maybe a few, right? And then up here, we're still gonna lose the top unless we bring it up a little bit like that. So as I was looking at ones that I wanted to use, these three stood out because they were bold and they were about 5.5 inches. And that's these three right here. Now you can also use like a piece of vellum that's the size you want and kind of overlay it and find out, you know, where you want to put them. But for me, I know that I want these three right here, and I don't want to sacrifice a lot of these under here. So I can actually even cut right here, bring my paper cutter down, and I'm gonna cut from here down to the edge, like that. I'll slide this down, and we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do just a little bit here, trying not to interrupt these. And we're gonna bring this over here. Let's see, I think I did it to about the 7 there. Okay. And then I can cut off this piece. So now I've got a nice rectangle to work with. And I can just figure out right where I need to be. There's my cut line. And there's the little, on your paper cutter, you should have a little arrow or a little slit or a little mark there that tells you where the blade is. So I know I can slide it up and stop right there. Now, if you have a rectangle die that is already that size, that would be great. And then from here, I can cut it down to 5.5, which is where I'm gonna want this card to be, at the 5.5, which is that's pretty close right there. Now I've got a black card to start, and I'm gonna use this little 1-inch paper, stripes at the top and bottom. And I tell you, I used the new shimmer pens to color with. I know everybody's been using them, and I sort of was holding off. I was like, what's the big deal? Isn't it the same thing if you do the blends and you put the Wink of Stella on top? Well, I gotta say, I might be a believer. They're pretty awesome. I've got a layer of black, and I thought it'd be pretty to do this hydrangea shimmer paper. This shimmer paper is so pretty. You get all 5 colors. It's 12 by 12. All these are the new in colors. They're pretty. And it's shimmery on both sides, which I really appreciate. Sometimes, you know, a lot of these papers are kind of expensive, but I really love it when they're shimmery on both sides. So I won't take the time to color everything because I have other projects to show you, but I will show you a few of them with the shimmer pens. All right, here's a little 1/2-inch piece. I just want a little bit to show on the top and the bottom. So I've got glue on the underside of my paper. Okay, same thing on this. Just this hydrangea blue is so pretty with the black and white. Trim off any little bits. Okay. All right. And then we put the black layer on, and that's how the card goes together. Pretty quick, actually. And onto the stripes in the middle. Now there's a little bit right here sticking out. If you see where we cut, there's a little bit of the vase from above showing. So that's when I added this little guy. I embossed Thinking of You Today on a black banner and popped it up and covered that up. Probably didn't have to, but all right, let's talk about these shimmer brushes for just a minute. I'm actually really surprised I like them this much. I just kind of thought they were gimmicky, but I'm wrong. So when you get them, you know, there's a little ring that goes in here. It looks like that. And then you're going to take the ring out. Some people save these for traveling and things like that, but I usually lose them or throw them away before that. And they're longer, and they seem to have more juice in them than the Wink of Stella. They are the same in colors. So this is the hydrangea. This is a little tough to squeeze compared to the Wink of Stella. It takes a little bit more muscle. So I don't have a lot of strength here. So if you use your knuckle and your thumb, you know, you can get that juice to kind of flow down a little bit faster. But once it starts flowing and you get your color, you'll know because it's all blue like that. It's very, very pretty. And someone told me a long time ago, when you are watercoloring or painting, you always leave a little bit of white in there. Don't fill it in everywhere exactly, because watercolor and painting and all of that, it needs a little bit of the white in there. It's really shimmery and pretty. And I have to say, it's really nice. It's like it almost has like a little bit of a slip in it, like not slippery. It feels different than the Wink of Stella, and I really like it. And even the nylon brush is nice and pointy and sturdy, and I can really get in there. And better than the Wink of Stella, I think. It's got a very nice brush to it. Yeah, ooh, I just went outside the line. Okay, so I used all the in colors to paint mine. That's green. Oops. Anyway, we'll do the little blue. Here, let me show you. I did the golden glow here and here. So I did 3 of the in colors, the blue, the green, and the golden glow. And I really like how it came out. I haven't done anything on the inside yet, but added a few of the little in color dots, and that really made it. All right, let me show you another idea. Those of you that have been around a long time know spotlighting. Spotlighting is that great thing. We used to do it with Lovely as a Tree. You had a big row of trees, and you punched out a rectangle or a square or a circle, and you popped it up, and you can put a little layer around it too. In this case, I just used a strip of this paper. I just picked one, again, with my same method as before, where you put it in your trimmer and find a good one. And I didn't care if some fell off the edge or not. You're not worried about that. You just want one good one in the middle. And then once you do that, you take a circle or an oval or whatever you want, and you're going to pop that out. And that's the only part that you color, and that's why they call it spotlighting. Now in this one, I did the Peaceful Pine, but on this one, I'm going to try the Cantaloupe instead. This goes together super fast. It's minimal coloring. I'm going to put this right in the center like that. Hopefully that's straight. And then again, the shimmer. I did the pine shimmer. I put a little bit of glue here. I'm just going to run this right across the top and the bottom, just a teeny little line, just to bring that shimmer in. And I showed this last week. This is what it looks like. This is the Cantaloupe shimmer brush, and this is the blends with Wink of Stella on top. The same Cantaloupe. You can see how much warmer and richer it is. I'm surprised. I'm a little late to the party in believing that they're fantastic, but they kind of are. You line them up on one side, then you only have to trim off one end. And I always do a little extra just in case. I hate to have it be too short. Now, this will get popped up. I've got a little bit of ribbon in between just to bring out a little extra texture. I put a little bit of glue down to hold the ribbon. This is that pretty Cantaloupe ribbon. And then dimensionals. You know I love these things, the dimensional sheets. I wish they made them in circles. That back here. And then you want to pop it up exactly where it belongs. And then all you have to do is color. And you're only going to color what's inside the circle. And then I added some of the ephemera here. I trimmed out this ephemera with Heartfelt Thanks. I just trimmed it out and added it right here. But a little banner, just a little something would be really nice. So I think I like the Cantaloupe one better than the green. Of course, I still have to color, but I think I like that. Okay, the last one I have to show you is just using a random piece, and it can be any of the designs. This is just 4 by 5 1/4 on a black card. No coloring needed on this one at all because we're going to use a little bit of vellum. So I'm using the postage die, and we're just going to add the square of vellum for the color. Let me show you what the card looks like first. Isn't that pretty? There's a couple secrets for putting this vellum down and making sure it stays. So on this particular one, I put a little bit of glue down the middle and then put the vellum down, and then I wrap the ribbon around it. So do that before you glue it to the card if you want the ribbon. That just goes around. So already there's a little bit of glue right in the center. Then this goes on top, which is nice, and that just sits on top. But then any place that I put these little embellishments, so if I put an embellishment right here and here, I'm going to take a glue dot and we're going to tuck it underneath, right under the embellishment. There's a teeny little glue dot on here, and you just lift that up and pop it right there where your embellishment is, and then you won't see the glue. And I like it flipped up a little bit. I think I like it looks more romantic that way. I used the Barely Blush shimmer paper, and I stamped it with Memento ink, and it dried great, and I stuck that on there and punched the little butterfly out. And the vellum that I used, I think it's called Sunset Vellum, and it has 3 different colors. They're 12 by 12 sheets. It comes in this pretty blue, looks like a balmy blue, and then like a champagne, and this real pretty blush, and very pretty colors. And I just thought it gave a really nice effect on top of the paper. So you could still see the design, but it's not the focal point, and you don't have to color anything. And I used the Forever Florals, this Thinking of You, and the dies that with that, which was the perfect size, really nice focal point, and just a little bit of splatter. I just dribbled a little bit in the cap and just flicked it, put a little bit of that blush shimmer splatter on there, and tied some twine. That was it. So this was fun. I hope you give it a try. I know a lot of you have this paper already, but you don't want to fussy cut everything, so give it a try and make these. All right, I'll have the recipes for you below with all the measurements and the supplies. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.